So who are you guys? How did you get started on this journey? Why did you sign up as a coach? And just introduce yourselves to the team. And even if, well, I know you guys have shared your stories before at different times, but there's a lot of new people on here too. So act as if we've never heard your story before.
I'll let Brooke go first. You're on mute, Brooke.
Okay. I was going to say you could go first, but I guess I'll go right ahead. Okay, so for those of you that know me, and I recognize some faces, and I see some people that I do know, but for those that don't know me or haven't heard my story, my name is Brooke, so I'm the Brooke with an E, so not Brooke Anderson. There's a lot of Brooks growing on this team. And gosh, I feel like every time I think of my story, it goes so far back, and I feel like I always start with that because really it just starts back. I feel like when I was born, I mean, I've always been overweight. I come from a family that really didn't value nutrition. I mean, this is pretty deep rooted for me. And I would say I always lacked a lot of confidence. I tried to exude confidence in trying to be funny. I feel like that's how I've covered up a lot, just with my insecurities about my weight and how I look. So, I mean, this stuff is pretty deep. And I feel like every time I share a little bit more, I feel like some more comes out about just how much this really has changed my life. So without going into those huge, huge details, I've been on my weight loss journey for, 2016 was when I started, and I tried everything. I mean, you name it, I researched it, I tried it. And I did pretty good the year leading up to my wedding. I would try a program, for a month, go gung-ho, lose 10 pounds, totally fall off. Then I would do it, okay, I need to get back up, do it for another month, totally fall off. Would try some other products. I've had a lot of people that were kind of into some of these like sales like things, and I'd always dodge them. I'm like, yep, nope, I'm not going to do that. One I tried for a little bit, and I liked their products, but it just, nothing really clicked. Nothing, I feel like, really solidified this as a lifestyle for me. I felt like I was always just trying to find a way to lose weight, and then I would fall back into old habits. So fast forward, got pregnant with my second little one, gained 60 pounds, like, holy crap. And I was miserable, and I just decided after that, like, this is it. I need to find something that is going to last me a lifetime. So what I did was I tried to start eating healthier. Like, I had learned a couple things along the way, like what is coconut oil and that chicken is healthy. So yeah, I did some of those things. I'm like, okay, this is supposed to be good. I made a post on Facebook, actually. I think it was July of last year about running, because I thought that was the only way you could lose weight is like you need to run and do cardio, obviously. So I made a post like, hey, how do I get ready for a 5K? I hate running, but this is a goal that I needed a goal. I knew I wanted to do something big, so I put it out there. And one of my coworkers actually connected me to Brooke and said, hey, you should talk to this girl, Brooke. And I'm like, oh, she has my name. Like, yeah, I'll talk to her. That's awesome. So that's really how my coaching journey started. I think Brooke added me on Facebook first, and then she reached out to me, and I was like, well, that's pretty cool. And she asked me, how are your kids? How do you know our friend Haley that we had a connection with? Like, we talked, like, it was totally normal. Like, I just felt really comfortable from the beginning. And then she asked about my post and some of my health goals. And I said, yeah, this is kind of where I'm at. Gave her a little bit of information. And then she mentioned Beachbody. And I was like, oh, crap, I've heard of this before. Yeah, let me think about it. I'm not sure. And then she said, okay, well, you can follow me on social media. It's been nice talking. Like, it was great. So I follow her on Instagram, and I've actually been following people like that have lost a lot of weight on Instagram for a long time. I get a lot of my like meal inspirations from people that I follow, and a lot of the stuff that I researched are from people that I follow too. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll follow her. And it took me from July to October to buy my first challenge pack. And at that time, I was not a coach, so I was just a challenger. I talked to my husband, I saved up money, I was back at work. I said, you know what, I'm going to do this and give it a try. Well, day one of our challenge group started, and I didn't start. So there's that. I totally wasn't prepared, didn't start. And it's funny because Brooke and I talked about this today about like, what do we do with people that don't start? And I thought back, I'm like, that was totally me. Like, we talked in July. I didn't start until October, and I swear there's going to be a point to all of this in a second. And then I did my first challenge group in December. So from July to December, all I was really doing was connecting with Brooke here and there. She'd reach out to me. I would watch her stories, watch her cute little kiddos, watch her have a baby and work out and drink her shake. I'm like, this girl, if anyone has an excuse, it's her. I need to get over myself. So but it still took me that long to join. And then finally, Brooke mentioned, thinking about coaching and discount coaching. I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to be paying for this stuff, I did 21 Day Fix. That was my first program ever. First time I've ever committed to something. And I was loving Shakeology. I'm like, I might as well make some money for it and pay for my shakes. And that's totally how I justified it to my husband. I said, hey, if I have a coach, all I need to do is have 3 people join me and my shakes are paid for and we'll have extra money in the bank. And my husband's like, oh, well, that sounds nice. Like, he didn't ask me too many questions after that. He's like, okay, I could go to GNC or go to Target or whatever and buy shakes, but no one's going to be, I'm not going to really get much from that except for maybe some results, but it wasn't like anything I'd seen before and I had tried a lot of that stuff. So lo and behold, it snowballed. I started really shooting for selling those challenge packs, or really like running my first challenge group. I think it was in February was when I decided to kind of go gung-ho, and I've just been going ever since. I have hit Success Club at least 5 every month except February. I was at 4, and I won't go too far into it because I want Kelly to talk, and we can talk about some of that later on, how to really get started. But yeah, I'm really close to Diamond, super, super close. My girls have been helping me out a lot with that, and it's been awesome. So Kelly, I'm going to let you take over because I'm such a chatterbox.
You're so hard to follow. I should have gone first. No.
No, you're great.
Well, I'll go back too, because I actually, in high school, I was really active. I even went on to play softball in college, and that's kind of where the whole weight loss thing started for me, was after college, because playing a sport in college after that, like, I was done. I didn't want to do anything. And initially I didn't gain the weight right away after college because I was waitressing. I was on my feet all the time, doing that 50 to 60 hours a week. So it was after I got my first, we'll call it, real job in the corporate world, that I sat behind a desk all the day, and then, oh, there's 20 pounds, and then there's 10 more, and it just kept coming on. And then I got a gym membership, but I was only really half committed. You got to go to the gym. And in all of that, I did meet my now husband. We went through some rocky times. We ended up figuring it out. But after we had gotten back together is when we both started really going to the gym together, because we had planned a vacation. I was able to get the weight off. So I've tried intermittent fasting. I've tried the low carb. I've tried a lot of those type of diets. And it was really hard for me to let go of intermittent fasting with Unity or with the Ultimate Portion Fix. But I did it, and I like it better now. So that is that piece. I was able to get the weight off after the first, our first baby, my daughter, Sophia. And then we got pregnant with our second one. And that is when I started. I just randomly signed up for Beachbody. I didn't have anybody. I saw Cassie's post a few times on Facebook, but I was just like, I don't know about all this. And I just went and signed up. So you need to reach out to people. And so I started some of the workouts at home, because initially I posted in a mom fitness Facebook group, and asked what some people were doing, because I had C-section, so I had to wait that 6 weeks before I could do anything. And it was right in the middle of flu season, so I didn't want to take little man to the germ bin, I like to call it, at the gym. So I just kind of really randomly signed up, and then I had posted on Facebook about starting a fitness group, and that's when Cassie had reached out to me, and the rest is history. I never in a million years would have thought I'd liked at-home workout programs, because I was a gym rat going 1 to 2 hours every day. So that's my story.
I love hearing stories because I think it just reaffirms, like you just said, Cassie, like, or not Cassie, Kelly, like people are watching and like people are, you know, they see it and like, you know, they might want to ask, or like it's up to like, we have to break that barrier for them. And I think that's just encouraging to hear. Don't you, like a lot of us were like that, but sometimes we forget. And then when we ask people to join us and they tell us no, you know, and so they're watching and, you know, the right timing will happen. So the first question I have for you guys is, how did you get over that fear? Like I hear all the time from new coaches, like, I want to do this, but I'm an introvert, I'm shy. Like, how do I put myself out on there on social media? So how did you guys get over that fear and at the same time, like, find a voice? You know, there's so much going on. How did you guys approach that?
I'll go first this time. My husband is, I don't want to call him skeptical, but he's very like, are you sure you want to do this, and this? And he researches everything. So when I initially started, it was to prove him wrong. So I just started randomly posting. I wasn't very, what do you call it? I didn't post every day, like it was just random. But then, I mean, I started to get some people just to kind of start conversations with here and there. And then I just kind of took off, like I said, just to prove him wrong. I love it when people tell me I can't do something and then I go and I have to prove them wrong. That's my nature.
We are totally similar. I'm the same way. I feel like when people start to doubt me, I push so much harder. So it's the coolest thing about this too, is you get to meet people. You're like, oh, we totally have that in common. So I feel like my big thing is, way back when I started my weight loss journey, I started to follow a lot of pages. So I felt like that kind of helped motivate me, and like there are other people out there that are sharing. And honestly, really watching like how Brooke did it, that kind of helped me in figuring out what I should share, what I could post, because it wasn't all just like salesy, I guess. Like it wasn't like she was posting beach body, beach body, beach body. So I kept up with sharing my kids more. I was like, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be real and trying to throw some beach body in here and there, some workouts, and just really trying to be real in my journey. And then, just going from there and really learning from other people, their modeling. So I think that would help me. And then was the second part, how to overcome no? Am I jumping ahead?
We'll get there. The next question is, two of those, like, what would you recommend? Like, if a coach is like, what should I do? I just signed up. Like, what are 2 to 3 activities I should make sure to do this next month? What would you guys say?
Do you want me to go? All right, we'll bounce back and forth. So right after you sign up, I say, like, the first thing that I did was get on a call with you. So getting on a call with your upline. So whoever that is, whoever your personally sponsored coach is, they can reach out to you. You can reach out to them and get on a call and just kind of talk about your goals, lay them out, because everyone's looks a little different. But if you're really wanting to go in for the business, and even to start, if you're just looking to pay for your Shakeology, like that's kind of what I was looking for. I'm like, hey, I just want to pay for my Shakeology. Brooke and I were able to really talk about, okay, what does that look like? That's 3 challenge packs. So how are you going to do that? You're going to share, you're going to start posting your own journey and asking people, if they want to join you. And it didn't have to be anything like creepy, like, hey, sign up now, but just, start posting, see who's watching, see who's liking your posts, and say, hey, thanks for liking my post. This is something new that I'm doing. Is this something you'd be interested in? Because you would be so surprised at the amount of people that are actually like, yeah, thank God you reached out. I've been on the same journey too. So that would be one of my first steps, is just really kind of start sharing and get your face out there so people can start seeing you, and not even just Beachbody, but your life. Like, what makes you you? You know, do you have children? Do you have pets? I know I have some awesome coaches that are dog moms. Like, they are sharing their puppies and those cute little outfits all the time. You know, are you in school? Are you religious? You know, are you married? I'm also a police wife, so that's another thing I like to throw in there too. Sometimes my husband's a little iffy about that because he's like, oh, security reasons. But it's a big part of our life. And I've been able to connect with some police wives, and that has just been amazing to me. So just start trying to figure out like what makes you you and what you want to share with people to connect to you while putting a little bit of Beachbody here and there. My second thing, I guess, and I won't talk too long, is probably going Emerald. That I know is something big that we talk about in this business, is going Emerald, and that's signing up 2 coaches underneath you, because then you'll start hitting those team cycle bonuses, you'll start getting those customer leads, and that's where I feel like you'll start seeing the money come in. And I even remember, I think like in the early weeks, I had like a $30 check. I'm like, whoa, where'd that come from? Well, it was because I went Emerald and I was getting money from customer leads. So I feel like that was like a boost. Like, once you start seeing it, even when it's small in the beginning, I feel like it's that little bit of motivation you need. Like, yeah, I can do this. Like, this is manageable and doable without having to put a sign up in your yard and have people come over to your house to take Shakeology. Like, you're able to do it in such an easier way with it feeling more natural. So I think those are the things that I would start doing, is figuring out what you want to share, what makes you you, and then getting to Emerald.
Yeah, I would definitely second the what makes you you, and just really like it helped me it felt like I knew who I was, but now I feel like I know more of who I am. Just really sitting down and make connections. Start conversations. It doesn't have to be about Beachbody. You know, oh my gosh, your daughter's hair is so cute. I love your dog. I have the same one. Just start having those conversations to start growing your network. And you don't even have to have a large network. I think that's one of the objections that I get most of the time, but we'll come back to that one. So just sharing and finding your voice. And then even if I have coaches that are like, you know, I just want to do this for the discount, I still share that nice little PowerPoint Brooke put together saying, you know, if this isn't, I know you don't want to, you know, work the business too much, but just so you have the information, you know, please review this, just so they're aware of like that Emerald and the share cart and just some of that back office stuff, and go with the flow. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, nor did I think I would be sitting here right now. So.
No, I love that. Go with I've heard it, go with the Beachbody flow. It's like, so true. Like, so true. Okay, so next question. Like, I feel like coaches start either one or two ways. Like, you get started and people want to join you, and then all of a sudden you hear a lot of no's, or like you just hear a lot of no's right away. So when you do hear those no's, it can be really defeating, and you know, it kind of makes you not want to do this. It's not fun hearing people say no. So how do you guys get over those objections and no's, and like move past those slow months? Like, how do you do that? Especially in those beginning months, it just can be super defeating.
Well, I actually got this one from you, Brooke, and I've heard this before, but I don't know why it just clicked when you said it. It was a feel, felt, found. So give me that objection of no, and oh, I totally understand. You know, this is the way I felt too, and then I'll just change the subject. So to keep it not awkward and just moving past that and keeping the relationship and not awkward type thing. So like today I was having a conversation with a lady, she just graduated from dental school, and she's like, I can't right now, you know, funds are tight, you got to get a job first. And I said, been there, know how that feels. How is the job hunting going? You know, just moving past that no, like it doesn't even affect you, I guess, is how I move past them and overcome.
Yeah, I think that's good. Like, not cutting the conversation off there and keeping it going, especially if there are other things going on. I do like to like I think it's a good idea to like put that in for sure. Like, okay, how's that going, or how are you feeling? A lot of the financial stuff I know can be difficult, and I know that was like a big objection of mine. I have found that with a lot of the no's that I get, or of overcoming that fear of people saying no, or I know for me, like the fear of people like, what are they gonna think when I post? Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be that person, you know, people are gonna start deleting me or not want to talk to me because it's going to be awkward. I have really found that at least like Beachbody really values personal development, which I think is amazing when you look at some companies that say they value personal development or really want you to become knowledgeable on their product or their company and really sell that. Beachbody really wants you to know yourself and be good with yourself, your health, your mental health truly, and just your all around well being so that you can help others. So I feel like that is like me being a huge mental health advocate and a social worker in schools. I feel like that is huge to me. And being in some jobs where I know they don't value that, they value what they're bringing in or if their product's being sold. The fact that this company really values professional development is huge. And that was one thing that I picked up early on. And I bought a book. I don't really read, haven't read that much, but I started reading Rachel Hollis's book. And I feel like that really motivated me to really just have this feeling of like, you know, if those people do want to delete me or unfollow, like that's not me, that's on them. That I feel like that having that mindset has really helped me kind of overcome the no's. Or if I reach out to someone and they say, no, not right now, or ghost me, like I really have to check back. Hold on a second, honey. I'm alone tonight. I was not expecting this. But going back, I think that really just having that mindset, like, you know, I'm doing this for me. If there's something else going on, you know, it's not going to impact me and I'm not going to let it impact me. I think that has really helped me with getting through some of those no's and also knowing that those seeds are being planted. And some of those people now 6 months later are coming back to say yes. So keeping that in mind too. They might say no now, but if they're watching, if they don't unfollow, they're watching and they're probably watching for a reason. So that would be my 2 cents.
I'll feed off of Brooks there too a little bit because if I used that before, it's no right now. It doesn't mean no forever. Because like she said, I've had just now 8 months in having people come back to me that I talked to back in January. And I just signed one up the very last day of the month, last month, that I've been having a conversation on and off with since February. So a lot of them that I've recently signed up have been ones that I've talked to 6-7 months ago.
I love that. I was just looking, I know at Summit, I was looking at my Summit notes. They said like, it's not this, but it was something along the lines of like, no thanks is just the beginning of the conversation. And like, and if they're still watching, if it's like a hard no and they are not anywhere near, like maybe then it's a no, but like if they say no thanks and they're still watching you, they're still sometimes engaging, it's like they're interested in something, they're just not ready yet. Okay. My last and final question right now is building momentum. Like getting people to do this with you and like getting them excited and carrying it. Like how do you get that started and keeping that going month to month? Because you guys are new coaches, like new coaches 8 months in, and you are, you know, rocking it. You guys have solid teams. Like, what would you say?
You want to go, Kelly?
Your turn.
Okay. Why do I have to think about that? As far as picking up momentum and getting things going, I feel like consistency is the first thing that came to mind because this is not something that happens overnight. I was just talking to Brooke today, and it's not like, you sign up for a job, you have a contract, and you have a paycheck. Okay, you go in and this is your paycheck every week. I mean, this is something you're going to have to work at and build, and go in knowing that it's really simple work. I mean, truly, it's simple work. You're sharing your life, you're putting it out there, and it could be hard at first too. So working on yourself to kind of get over some of those fears and leaning in on your team, because a lot of the people that you see here that are on our team that are doing it, there are so many women that have inspired me that I've been watching them, and I think, okay, if they can do it, I can too. So building those relationships and that confidence and leaning in on your team in the beginning to get started, and then just being consistent. I feel like that's where the momentum comes in. And I like to say too, thinking like a top coach. That's something that I keep telling myself, because I am not there quite yet, but I keep telling myself, I'm like, okay, if I want to be a top coach, what am I going to do? And I have found that when I set a big goal for myself, I am more likely to reach it. And as soon as I fall off or don't set goals, they're really hard for me to reach. So like this past month, I'm like, I'm going to hit Success Club 10. Like, I never thought I would do something like that. And setting those goals, having your team, and being consistent, I feel like that's when you start to see growth and momentum, because people are going to be watching, and like we've said, people will say no, people will be unsure. Once they start seeing you show up every day, they're going to believe this is the real deal. Like, again, I went from July to December. Like, it took me a long time to believe, like, okay, this is for real, and really jump in. And even at that point, I had no idea I would be where I'm at today. So being consistent, it might get hard. So at that point, you lean in on your coach, you reach out to them, and don't suffer in silence. I think when I suffer in silence, that's usually when I start to slowly trickle off. So reach out to any one of us, anyone on the team. Just say, this is hard. No one's saying yes. I know, I think it was February. They had this challenge going on, and one of the speakers said, the dam will break. I always think of that when things get slow. You say, you invite, people say no. I have to keep thinking the dam will break. These are all the seeds being planted. And just like last month, something comes up, a new program or something happens, and all these people will just come at you and flood you with, yes, I'm ready to join, because you have been consistent and you have showed up as much as you can every single day. So I think that's kind of what I would say as far as building momentum. And it takes time. And we're all here to help you. So, yeah.
What helped me build momentum, not gonna lie, the first time I hit Success Club and I got a free prize, I was like, all right, let's go. 3 months, I get another one. 6 months, I get another one. So I think that helped me build momentum. And so, just keep showing up. And then kind of similar to Brooke, but on a little lower level, if I set too large of goals for myself, I'm less likely to attain them. I need to break them down further for me. So like on a daily basis, I connect with 3 new people. I start at least 3 new conversations, or at least invite 3. So 3 across the board. Even when I'm not feeling like it, I'm like, I have little notifications on my phone for those things, and little bubbles on my icons drive me insane. So in order to check it off, I have those daily goals to help keep the momentum going now that it's going. And that's, just the daily goals for me. Not the, I'm going to be diamond. That was just kind of, okay, awesome, we're here.
Wow, that was so good. Okay, I know like you guys just like flooded us with so much knowledge, but like, and we're gonna leave it up for some question and answer after this, but like, do you have any like, okay, I want to make sure these ladies hear this before we open up for question and answer? Or like any top tips that it's like, I know you just shared like a ton of your top tips, but anything else that you just want to make sure you say?
I would like I'll just add that it doesn't take a huge following to do this. I think I don't even have 200 followers on Instagram right now. I had less than 100 probably when we started. So it doesn't take a huge following. You have an audience already. So play with them and build on them.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing would be to keep going. I mean, I will tell you that the concept of doing this work in this business is really simple. It's not overly complicated. We have a lot of supports for you. Your coach has a lot of supports. You know, I feel like everything is there for us. But I would just say keep going, even when it gets difficult. And I have to tell myself that a lot too, or when you feel like you aren't being heard, or when you feel like you've reached out to everyone. I remember there was a point, and I looked at my Instagram people that watch my story, and I'm like, I've talked to everyone here in one way or another, and I felt kind of defeated. I'm like, okay, now where do I go? You know, you keep going, you keep sharing, because those people that may have not talked to you, or I have people where I've sent a couple messages and I've backed off, and now they're coming back and they're like, wait, like I just had one tonight before we started, like, wait, tell me again. And it's been months. I'm like, oh, hey, like, I promise you, if you are consistent and if you keep going and you lean in for support when you need it, and be vocal about it too. I think that's big, is don't suffer in silence if you feel like it gets hard. Lean in on your support and keep going, and you will see the benefits. So that's probably where my final words.
Oh, that's awesome, you guys. Okay, we're gonna open it up for question and answer. So if you wanna ask a question, just unmute yourself and then they can take it away. So this is like, utilize this time. Anything you want to ask them, like, they've been there, so ask them. I'll start. Do you guys have like a posting schedule, or are you like wing it random, or do you have like any rhyme or reason to how you guys post?
I have a schedule up. Do I always go by it? No. Yeah, I know recently, probably within the last month, I'm like, oh, I just have to make sure that I get something on social media today, whether that's about Beachbody or not. I just have to let them know that I'm here.
That's a good question, because I do not. And I think that I know one of my personal areas of growth is having more consistency, and that's something I'll be honest with. One of my favorite things, it was actually one of your posts too, Brooke, in one of our challenge groups way back when, about mastering the restart. That has totally stuck with me in my health journey, and I feel like I've pretty much nailed that. But basically, when you fall off, or if you miss a day, instead of saying, oh, I can't do this, I'm not consistent, because we talk a lot about being consistent and showing up. Even if you go a week without posting in the beginning, like, that's okay. Like, start back up. To get this business down, you really got to master that restart and come up with a new game plan. I think right now my biggest game plan is the same as Kelly's. I try to get something up every day, whether it's something on my story. I'm really, really trying to aim for an actual post every day. I know that has been taking me a little bit more time. So if anyone has any tips on that, or if they have a schedule, feel free to share. I love learning from people. But I just make sure that I'm posting to my story, at least my story, every day, because I feel like that's where I get a lot of those connections and have those conversations going. And then I try to post once a day. So that's my honest answer.
Yeah, in the beginning I sucked at it. It's okay.
It takes time, and you
Yeah.
can still be successful. You just got to keep going.
Exactly.
All right, looks like Jessica asked, how many asks/invites a day do you send? Is it a set number?
I do three. Add 3 people, start 3 new conversations, try to send 3 invites.
Can I ask you, Kelly? Now I'm asking a question. You mentioned the notification bubbles. What does that look like?
I took Dana's recommendation on that one. I shut it off for Instagram and Facebook because it gives me anxiety. But I use my iPhone reminders for the posts and things.
Okay. Do you have a certain time of day, like where it goes off? Do you have like an alarm, like ding, send?
I don't have an alarm, but I have them show up on my phone right at 5 a.m.
Okay.
right as I'm either starting or ending my workout. So then they're there until I clear them.
That's a good idea. Oh, that's a really good idea. I think to answer that question, again, this is probably an area where I need to grow in. I like to say I'm very impulsive by nature. So some days I'll send, I know I have had some days where I've sent 30 invites where I knew I had a solid 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, I am going to go to town and send invites. My goal is 5. I try to do 5 invites a day, whether it's an invite to a challenge group or invite to coaching. When I invite to coaching, this is another thing that I wish I would have known early on, or I wish I would have implemented. But when I first started, I really just talked about the challenge packs. I never mentioned coaching because I was so afraid to let people know that I was a coach. And I was afraid that people would think I was just trying to recruit them. And I think that fear came from knowing how other people had approached me in the past and maybe my own perception. I'm like, oh gosh, if I say that, they're going to think that I'm just in it for money or I have ulterior motives. So I never mentioned it. But I have found a way where I do mention coaching almost every time when I do an invite. And I learned from some of my teammates, their scripts when you say, hey, how's it going? Yeah, da 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 da. I just wanted to ask, have you been interested? I see you following my story. I appreciate it so much. Not sure if you were thinking that you were interested in the health and fitness side or maybe even the business side, and just kind of putting that in there, that or and then once people are talking about how they're interested about signing up, really just kind of looping in the coaching, like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's great. This is how a challenge pack works, and there's a lot of good scripts out there that we have on our team page that you can kind of follow and make your own, but then always looping in like the coaching opportunity, like, and if you sign up as a coach, these are all the perks too. So I felt like once I started doing that with my invites, and after I had conversations with people, obviously that's how I was able to build up my team at least, instead of leaving that out awkwardly for a separate date. So long answer, 5 is my goal for the day. Again, something I need to grow in. For consistency, it varies.
I'll second what Brooke said though too on the coaching, because I never used to do that up front. In fact, I was scared too. And I'm like, well, why would I do that? I can get them again, when their Shakeology's up. That's an easy time to approach it as well. But as soon as I started looping it into the conversation up front and just putting it out there, getting over that fear, once I did it once and somebody said yes, I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad. Like, I'm going to keep going. It gets easier. So, and that's when I really started to see more momentum too, is when I started inviting coaching up front.
Yeah, can anyone hear that Disney music? I'm so sorry. It's quiet enough? Okay, I can hear it. All right, I had to throw that in.
What other questions you guys got?
These are good questions.
I'm curious what your goals are currently. And like, how do you, what are your goals? And like, is it, because I know a lot of times it's like scary to say them. So, and to let people know, because that fear of, what if I don't make it? But
yeah, do you want to go first, Kelly?
Yes.
This is a big one. Like, my big goal definitely is to build my team and to build. I really want to stay home. That's a big goal. I feel like I have finally found something, and that was not my goal in the beginning. I promise everyone, I have my master's in social work, and I went to school while I was pregnant, while I had a baby. Like, that was my big goal. I went in because I wanted to help people and I wanted to work with kids and families. Like, that was my passion. And as I have gotten into it, as you hear a lot of people in social work burn out, I see why. It's a very rewarding job, but it can be difficult. And I knew I always wanted to be home for at least a portion of my life with my kids. I've always wanted kids, and I picked school social work because I was able to help people and have summers off. Like, in my mind, that was like what I wanted. Like, I was able to make money, I'm able to help people, and I'm able to be with my kids as much as possible without working a whole year. Now I feel like I have found something where I'm able to make money, and it's there. That opportunity is there once you work for it. I'm able to help people, and I'm still able to help families. I'm connecting with women. After I've had kids, I have a passion for working with moms, especially with moms and their mental health, because momming is hard. I mean, raise your hand. Momming is hard. And let me tell you, I dealt with postpartum depression with my first. I've struggled with depression and anxiety. I feel like that's where my passion for mental health comes in, and I have family members that struggle with mental health. And I feel like this coaching opportunity, I'm able to make money. I'm able to work with people that I connect with, because those people I'm starting to follow, we just naturally make connections. I'm able to be with my kids, honestly, even more if I'm able to stay home. And I'm able to reach my health and fitness goals, which I never in my life thought was possible. I thought I was just born unhealthy, and that's the way it was meant to be. So I feel like with social work, I only had the 3, and this I have 4 and more. So that's my ultimate goal, really, is to make this a business and run with it so I can have all of those. So yeah, there it is.
I was kind of talking to Cassie about this the other day. I said, I don't think I could ever quit my full-time job. So more power to you stay-at-home moms, because I don't think I could do that. But I don't want to never say never, because I never thought that I would be here working this business either. So I do want to build it and see where it goes. And my goal was diamond, and now I haven't set a new one. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Any last questions? And then we want to respect your guys' time. Let you go.
So I have one. Brooke, when I was talking to you, you mentioned like the first way to start, or a good way to start, is to get like a spouse to kind of join underneath you. And I'm kind of wondering like how active they have to be, because I mean, Jack's a gym rat and he hates social media, so he would never do this. But I feel like if it would like help me and he can just sit on the sidelines and not actually do it, he might sign up. But I don't think he would actually like work the program, because the gym is like his second home. So
yeah, if it helps at all, so I have Steven signed up as a coach, and I think I have some people here that are under him. He has never done a Beachbody workout or anything. He will not try my Energize because he's crazy. He told me he needs to try it at the right time because he really wants to like it. We're getting there, 8 months in. And yeah, so for him to join, as far as like building the Emerald, is that kind of what you're talking about when we had that conversation?
Yeah, like I feel like he would join underneath me just to help me out, but I don't think he would ever actually do it.
What would you say to that, Brooke? I know we have an Emerald call.
Yeah, we have an Emerald call next week, but also along those lines, like my husband, he's also signed up under me, doesn't do anything with it, but like you know, it's kind of fun because, you know, they do get those emails because you're going to set up those emails. So it does kind of like keep them in the loop of like what's going on, because then he like forwards all my emails to him. So it's kind of nice that like, you know, yeah, he's included in like what's going on, and he'll be like, oh, how much money did I make this week? Or like, oh, I signed up a new coach this week, or who's my new customer? And like, so it's been he doesn't have to do anything with it. Like just tell him, hey, I'm gonna sign you up down the road. Like this is another avenue of making income, and you know, you'll want him there like as soon as possible, and just let him know like you don't have to do anything with it, just forward all the emails to me and I'll take care of it. So he doesn't have to do anything with it unless he wants to. Like maybe down the road, like he will. And like what I found too is I'll always put like any guys that sign up, I always put them under my husband.
Okay.
And then they refer to him as like coach, and you know, to get more people talking.
My husband is also a gym rat, and he only tried Energize once because it was the only pre-workout that we had at the hotel. So he doesn't even have his email. It's my second email that his account is signed up with, so he doesn't see any of it actually. But like Brooke said too, I'll still get him involved and be like, babe, you just went Emerald, you signed up a new coach this week.
Yes, yes.
He's excited, and he'll be like, I haven't seen my paycheck yet. So, like
he just came in the mail today. He's like, this is all mine. I'm like,
so you can still get them involved even though they're not doing anything with it. It's kind of fun.
Thank you.
Yeah. Energize is the best.
And the zero zilch nada. Yep. My husband just yelled, I forward a lot of emails. Yes, we'll do that. All right, you guys, Brooke and Kelly, this was amazing. So many good nuggets and takeaways, and it just, you laid it out there so like simply and like doable. Like anyone can do this. It's just that, like you guys said, it's like that consistency and getting out in there. So thank you guys so much, and I will make sure to post this recording either tonight or tomorrow on the team page. So thank you. A good one. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Bye.